Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. This is Pernilla Lila Rose. And I really am looking at the situation out there, quote unquote, out there. And as human beings who experience themselves as separate from the divine, we have a deep need, I think it's the word, a deep need to believe in something or somebody, right? I can certainly find that in here. At a certain point, it comes to, I believe in God, right? That's the religion a lot. There's believing in this God that is still not who we are. It's still out there somewhere. When people talk about I pray to God, there's a lot of pointing outside of ourselves. And then there's the need to believe in the government that will make things okay on earth. And we can certainly see that right now. There is a huge disappointment in probably half of the country and a huge joy in the other half of the country because our energies are projected out there as if there is a savior, somebody who's going to come to save us. When we're young, when we're babies, we need somebody to take care of us simply because we have not developed yet into a sense of a sense of being that is only dependent on its own inner beingness, presence, wisdom, fulfillment. So we were talking about a big split lately, and this is the real split, of course, is that we have split off from the divine. I mean, you can't split off from the divine because it's who you are, but we can do that in our minds, and that is the matrix. So as soon as we move out of our true beingness, then we go into that matrix, and that's what we're born into. And immediately we think we are separate from the divine. And now we need to do it all on our own, unless, we have somebody in our life where there's a deep sense of support for each other. And that has to be there when we're young, because we cannot do it on our own. And then we grow older, and then we can actually do things on our own, right? We are more capable, more experienced, we learn things. But we're still not connected on an experiential level to who we truly are. And that's why we keep looking outside of ourselves for safety, for a savior. And you can just look at it in your own mind and just see how stirred up you are by the one who was elected recently. You just check with yourself, how that impacts you, both in a positive and a negative way. It doesn't matter. There's still this projection out, and it is causing a lot of fear and grief for a lot of people, more separation between us. And then we want to start, of course, blaming the other side for whatever. And then we realize that what was promised is not happening after all. Or we can say, here, it looked like it was going to go this direction and it didn't. And all that energy we spend on looking outside of ourselves is wasted energy. You have probably heard me talk about, don't touch it. Don't touch the matrix. Don't touch this external world with your emotions. very different than touching it physically because we are living here. But our emotional projection, attachment, that is something we all individually need um, to liberate ourselves from. There is not going to be a more beautiful world out there by, let's say, two very, if I may say so, very immature candidates who are pointing fingers, blaming, looking for negativity about each other. To me, it is unbelievably immature. There is a lack of emotional intelligence and emotional maturity in a lot of the people that we have projected our power out to, that we have given our power to. That in itself is still also an immature emotional state. And don't take this personal because, as a whole planet, we are all still under that cover or that overlay of the matrix. And that's what's being bombarded into us 24/7. So there's nobody to blame. There really is nobody to blame. So I don't want anybody here to feel that, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong or something. You may not even go there, but I just want to say that it's all an impersonal projection that's coming down on all of us. And the more we can see it, and I hope that by me maybe shining some light on what I see from my point of view, then maybe somebody can say, oh, yeah, that's kind of weird. There's something going on here. And then once you start seeing how an outer figure or leader, how that impacts you, then you'll also know how your emotions, your emotional attachment to an outer savior is still not freed. The freedom comes, and I also know that there's a lot of you here who are coming to my channel who are have come into that more neutral state, more as the observer, where there's no emotional attachment. There might be something like, some people might feel a relief inside. That's how my body talks. It's like you listen, but not from here and not from the emotions, but from a much deeper place where you can rest in. There's like a calm in that. There's a calmness when we rest here. And then we are not, from here, there is no interest in engaging in an emotional way. And of course, there are many people who think we should be emotional, we should be angry, we should be happy, whatever you believe in. But then there's a lot of people who are like, I'm done with that. I've seen through it. It's one big game. It's just one big play. What did Hamlet say? The world is a stage. And that is what is true. And we need to start seeing it as such and not get so involved in it with our emotions. A much better way to put our energy is to start, when you release those charges, those identities to the matrix, then there is this sense of liberation where you actually have choice in where you want to place your energy. And that's when we can go inside and really feel what is it that I really want? Do I really want to keep fighting and, hoping that somebody out there is going to do it? Somebody who seems very immature. When you step back from all of it, and see most of the politicians, there is a deep, deep immaturity. And of course, there are those who are much more mature, but it's still run out on a very immature level where we're not fully moving from the divine. And that is what I think is what's being asked of us, all of us, to really come back into ourselves and listen And I used, for me, it's like the deepest longing. To me, that's where I listen to God. It's like the earpiece, that's what the divine speaks through, is through my longing. So when I listen to that, and then I feel some longing for peace, for connection, harmony, whatever it is. It's different for everyone, but there is a very much a flavor that we all have, and it's not what we have going on now. And this longing for a whole new way of being, a whole new world, how we interact, it's there because that is the next thing that is gonna unfold in us. It's so prevalent in so many people that I talk to, where it's like, yeah, it's just about love now. We can't keep doing that. And it's very heartfelt, it's very sincere. And then, of course, most of us, we don't know how to live from that place because it's new. We have been living from that sense of duality and immaturity and emotional, unhealed emotional attachment. That's the work we all need to go through. And this is a place where it's very a good thing to reach out. If you have somebody who can help you with that, if you feel stuck in that, please reach out. If you don't have anybody, please reach out to me. There are many, many people who are here on the planet now. We first had to do our own work ahead of time of what we're going into now, so that we could be more of a ground, more of um, a pillar, is kind of a foundation that we can rest back in. It doesn't mean we're perfect. It doesn't mean that we sometimes, fall by the wayside and we just have to get up again. But generally, there are many, many people. Some call it light workers, could be teachers, shamans, anything. There's so many beautiful, beautiful people who are here in these times just to help all of us get on board, get on this new timeline that is wanting to come through. And it is not done in the way that you see out in the world. And I think you also know that. I think we all know that when you just pause for a moment and say, yeah, so we tried that and it has actually never worked. Never. It always flip-flops from, peace to war, war to peace, whatever. And that's how it's going to continue to do, because that is duality. So what we're being asked now is to leave duality behind, leave the matrix behind, leave the old patriarchy and the old paradigm behind, and start tuning in to what is coming next. And it's here for all of us. But every time I ask somebody, well, what do you really want? And they really take their time to feel, it's a very similar flavor for all of us. But the challenge is like, well, how do I do that? Because look around me, it's madhouse, I feel I need to do something. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's just the approach is not, we're missing the mark in the approach, because it's coming through these layers of emotional unhealed wounds or emotional attachments, emotional righteousness. That's what it's going to move through. And that just means that it's not going to get through, because it's going to get, stuck in this crazy energy. So we need to move and shift and heal and dissolve these layers of the matrix of hate and anger and righteousness and fear and doubt, all that stuff. That is each our own task to move through, but certainly with support. It's not, I have not done this on my own all these years, and I know very few people, if any, who were able to do it on their own. So that's just a natural process. And now there are a lot of light workers, light beings, whatever we want to call them, and they are here. They are here for us all, for those who need it. Light workers can still go and get help from each other if there's a stuckness. We know where to go. We know who to trust. And then it's just so we can be more available for this light to come through. So that is, I know I'm speaking about this every day, but I don't really know what else is important these days. It just seems like this is it. This is it. And we can do this. We can do this. It's taking back the power that we have put out there. Put the power or our attention, our energy on who we are and how this wants to move. And then start feeding our energy to that so that can grow more, right? And then it starts radiating out of each of us. And then, of course, that impacts everything around us. So, my friend, if you haven't already, this is your chance, this is your time to take back the power that you have given away to anybody outside, whether it's the government, a spiritual teacher, um, anybody who really takes that role to be, I'm the one who knows. And those times are not relevant anymore. Though that behavior is melting away, and now we start helping each other, in smaller groups and bigger groups. And then we just together we start moving out from the inside, and a whole new energy is going to be available to us.